MLB Network continues their Top 10 Right Now series looking at starting pitching. So I'm going to bring you my top 10 starting pitchers in the game for the 2025 season. Let's get into it. Now, beginning at number 10 is the new ace for the Boston Red Sox, and that is Garett Crochet. When you look at what Crochet is capable of, last season in 2024 was absolutely a breakout campaign for the young left-hander. There's no doubt about it that he's going to skyrocket to the front end of the Red Sox rotation, and this newly revamped thing that they are doing up in Boston with this rotation now being built around Crochet and Walker Buehler. I think that for Boston, this is a very reminiscent deal of when they first acquired Chris Sale, and he helped them tremendously, taking them and helping them win a World Series. Now, looking at it this year in 2025, Garett Crochet is going to have a much longer leash when it comes to his transition from it being a reliever to a starting pitcher. And I think that Boston is going to be able to try and capitalize on the best of Garett Crochet. And I think a season length work, a starter's load for Garett Crochet in 2025 is really going to have him vaulting up the Cy Young caliber performance. As we get into number 9 on my list, it is a sleeper candidate, in my opinion, for the American League Cy Young, and it is George Kirby of the Seattle Mariners. When you look at the rotation that the Mariners have built, it is absolutely one of the most impressive rotations in all of Major League Baseball. Many young, cost-controlled starters. George Kirby, to me, is the one that stands out the most. I think that when you look at his combination of stuff and his ability to get outs, there's no doubt about it. This is going to be a young star who is absolutely going to be phenomenal in Major League Baseball. I think 2025 is really going to be the year that we see him take that next giant leap in his progression and really put himself into that American League Cy Young conversation. For me, George Kirby is going to be the highlight of a very talented Mariners rotation, and that's why he makes number 9 on my list. As we get into number 8, it is the ace of the Kansas City Royals, Cole Reagan. When you look at what this player is capable of doing, there's no doubt about it that Reagan has the ability to really generate outs and to be able to do so at a very high level. I think that what we saw from him in 2024 is just the beginning stages of greatness. I think that when you look at what Reagan is able to do for the Royals at the front end of their rotation, this is a young ball club that is absolutely going to make waves in a big way. 2024 to me was just the opening salvo for this team, and having Reagan's at the front end of that rotation is going to be just the icing on the cake. When you look at what he is going to be capable of in 2025, I think a very big season is headed from Kansas City's ace, Cole Reagan. Now, as we get to number 7 on my list, it is the ace of the Atlanta Braves, the Cy Young Award winner, Chris Sale. Sale really bounced back in a tremendous and giant way for the Braves, given the tail end of his Boston Red Sox tenure. This was a player that was seen as a write-off, a throwaway, just to try and shed some money for the Boston Red Sox. He heads down to Atlanta, gets with that absolute pitching machine down in Bravo's country, and they revamped him in such a way that allowed him to not only regain his Cy Young caliber form, but actually regain the Cy Young Award. This was a tremendous, absolute season of brilliance from Chris Sale, and he really put it all together in 2024. I think heading into the 2025 season is going to be more of the same, given the way that the Braves have been able to handle his workload. Going into this new campaign, I think the Braves are going to try to bounce back, seeing 2024 as a down year overall, but Chris Sale was definitely one of the highlights, and that's why he makes my list. As we get to number 6 on my list, it is another Cy Young caliber candidate, Blake Snell. The new ace for the Los Angeles Dodgers is among many aces, and I think that the way that Los Angeles is likely going to use him with the return of Shohei Ohtani to the mound, it is going to be a part of a 6-man rotation. And I think that for Blake Snell, that is really going to allow him to shine even greater. Having more time to recover between starts is going to allow him to remain healthy. A healthy Blake Snell is amongst the upper echelon of pitchers in Major League Baseball, and there's very little question in my mind that he can be that Cy Young caliber pitcher that we've seen the last 2 years for the entire season in a Dodgers uniform. Given the way that the Dodgers are likely going to lay out their rotation, likely be a 6-man rotation to try and preserve the health of guys like Ohtani, Yamamoto, and Tyler Glasnow, that also benefits a guy like Blake Snell. I think that when you look at what he does in his starts, being able to have the strikeout percentage that he does, yes, he walks a ton of guys, but he is able to limit the damage, and that ultimately is what you want from your starting pitcher. Limiting the damage, getting outs, and that's what Blake Snell does. And that's why he finds himself in my top 10 right now. Now, as we get to number 5 on my list, this is a player who I believe in each and every single season, and it has been one of the most durable pitchers, and that is Logan Webb of the San Francisco Giants. Yes, pitching in the expansive park in San Francisco does benefit his ability to get outs. However, this is a ground ball pitcher, and he is able to get outs no matter which way you slice it. Logan Webb is also one of the most consistent and dominant pitchers that we've seen over the last several years. This man goes out there and takes the ball every 5th day, pitching 30-plus starts a season for the San Francisco Giants. This is a guy who you can rely upon, and year after year, this is the guy that is topping out Major League Baseball in terms of innings. When you have that level of consistency, that level of reliability, and that level of durability, this is the type of player that you want headlining your rotation. The Giants have brought in Justin Verlander to kind of be that veteran presence in this rotation, and I think that that is going to benefit Logan Webb even more. So as dominant as he has been, as impactful and durable as he has been, I think that he's going to take his game to another level in 2025, and that's why he's in my top 5. Now, as we get to number 4 on my list, we are in the rare air, in my opinion, and Zack Wheeler, the ace of the Philadelphia Phillies, is number 4. Wheeler has been one of the best pitchers since joining the Philadelphia Phillies rotation, and there's very little question, in my opinion, 2025 is just going to continue adding to that legacy. When you look at what he's been for Philadelphia and the way that he's been able to control the games, been able to be that ace, that stopper of losing streaks, be able to extend those winning streaks. This is a guy who goes out there, he grinds, he battles, even when he doesn't have his best stuff. He is still able to get outs at a consistent and powerful level for a Philadelphia Phillies team that is built on that pitching staff, on that starting rotation, and absolutely has gotten even better this season. When you look at what Zack Wheeler is capable of doing for this Philadelphia Phillies rotation, there's little question that he is the ace. This is the guy you put on the mound in Game 1 of a pivotal game. You put him on the mound of Game 1 of the World Series, and you feel extremely confident in his ability to get outs, get you deep into the ball game, and give your team a chance to win. And that's exactly what you're looking for from your ace, and why he makes my top 10. Now, as we get into number 3 on my list, it is the Yankees ace, Garrett Cole. There's very little question that Garrett had a down season by his standards because of being hurt through the first part of the season of 2024. But in 2023, this was a Cy Young Award winner, and in my opinion, it was long overdue. In 2025, we're going to see the best of Garrett Cole, in my opinion. I think that having had the second half of the season that he had and the postseason run that he had, I have all the confidence in the world that Garrett is going to be able to get back to that Cy Young caliber form. When you think about what he is at his best for the New York Yankees, this is, as I mentioned with Zack Wheeler, a stopper of losing streaks, someone that you give the ball to in that big game to be able to get you through to the end of the game. This is a guy who is and has been one of the most durable and reliable pitchers since signing with the New York Yankees. Last season to me was an aberration when it comes to that injury bug, but going into 2025, a healthy Garrett Cole is likely to go back and regain that Cy Young caliber form for the Bronx Bombers. Now, as we get into number 2, this is an absolute battle of young studs, and we start with Detroit Tigers ace, Tarik Skubal. When you look at what Scoble can be, this was an absolutely monumental season for him in 2024. A absolutely Cy Young caliber season, being able to win the pitching triple crown. This is a guy who is absolutely going to be one of the most recognizable aces in terms of baseball circles for the next half decade to decade, in my opinion. I think if Scoble can stay healthy, this is going to be one of the sneakiest players to ever pick up if you're playing fantasy baseball. And in real life, this is going to be a guy who absolutely dominates. The way he was able to get outs and carve up lineups left, right, and center for a Tigers pitching staff that was basically Scoble and pitching chaos, as AJ Hinch put it. There's no doubt about it that he is the ace of this staff, and as he goes, so do the Tigers. And I think that going into the 2025 campaign, Scoble is going to continue on that dominant level of pitching that we saw him perform in 2024. So without question in my mind, Tarik Skubal is among the upper echelon of starting pitchers in the game today, and we have quite a bit of very good starting pitchers, but Scoble is at the very top. Now that leaves the number 1 pitcher in the game today, and as good as Tarik Skubal was, there's no doubt about it in my mind that in 2025, Paul Skeens is going to absolutely dominate. This is one of the most impactful, powerful right-handers that we've seen in a very long time. If Paul Skeens can stay healthy through the course of his career, this may go down as the greatest pitcher in baseball history. And that may seem absolutely crazy to say after just half a season, basically a little more than half a season of the young right-hander from the Pittsburgh Pirates. But there's no doubt about it that the stuff that this player possesses, the stuff that Skeens has, is absolutely some of the most dominant ability that we've ever seen coming out of a pitcher. When you look at what he is capable of, if, again, health is the biggest component, because there's a lot of kind of comps for me with Steven Strasburg when he first came up, and we felt the same way about Strasburg that we're now feeling about Paul Skeens. But health is going to be the biggest factor for Paul Skeens' success. If he can stay healthy, to me, the sky is absolutely the limit for this right-hander. I think that going into the 2025 season, Paul Skeens is going to dominate at a level and a way we have never seen before. I think that it is going to be an absolutely entertaining season throughout the 2025 campaign. So watching Pittsburgh Pirates games is going to be a must if you're a baseball fan. So for me, Paul Skeens and his ability is going to be the number 1 player in the game in 2025 when it comes to starting pitching. But I want to hear from you, baseball fans. Let me know your thoughts, your feelings on my list. Let me know your list down in the comment section below. You can always find me on our social media outlets, on X at @banter_baseball, everywhere else at Baseball Banter Broadcast. Make sure you keep it locked in here by hitting that subscribe button and the bell for post notifications as we continue to bring you content each and every single week here on the Baseball Banter Broadcast. We have some new and exciting things coming up this year, so keep it locked in as I'll let you guys know more about that in a little while. But again, keep it locked in, and I will catch you guys on the next video. Peace.